so I'm starting the recording. So for anyone who is joining us just in the playback of the recording, the call started a few minutes ago, and Kat and I were doing a burning ceremony. So unfortunately, you missed the beginning of the call with the ending of a burning ceremony. The reason why we did this burning ceremony was in coaching that Kat and I had both got. It came up. Okay, I think I'm back. Sorry, the internet's not being very great today. But I was saying that Kat and I both had some calls today. Kat did a session with Sophie. I did a session with one of my mentors, and it came up that there are some things that we're living in the past, that we have like one foot in the past and one foot in the future. And how are we supposed to manifest the life that we're wanting to live if we're not actually living in the present moment? And that's because we haven't forgiven ourselves for things that have come up for us in the past. So if you take this as a message that you need to do some of this work as well, if you're watching the recording, I'd recommend pausing now and going and doing a burning ceremony or writing out your fears, whatever works for you to release this and let go of these things that you don't want to carry with you into 2025, because that's going to help us move into this new version of ourselves. We don't have to start this new version of ourselves in 2025. We can do it now. 100% do it now. So I'm just looking. Okay, I think I'm back. I'm actually going to try switching internet. Okay, cool. I think I'm back. So to just solidify it, I'm also going to, have a smoke while I'm out here, because that's what I want to do, and that's me being me, fully me. So good. That's who I am. Why don't we start? Why don't we start by, I know, Alejandro, you are new to the call, so welcome. Thank you for joining us. But Patty and Katrina, Kat, if you guys want to take a moment and just give us an update on how things are going, what's been coming up for you over the last week before we move into today's 2025 planning. Who wants to go first? Patty?
Katrina, that finger. Not me. Some really great things have been occurring. I have taken on a project I'm calling, it's called Love Talks, and it's literally tracking committed speaking and listening conversations. Like, where's the request in there? Where's, is there a commitment? And the one important thing that I've seen about that is tracking it, literally putting it in my calendar in existence. What was it? Were they making a commitment, a request, a promise? Were they just sharing? Was it an enrolling conversation? Was I touched and inspired? And then I'm also looking at what unexpected results are coming out of that. Like, one person said, he just really wanted to be supportive of a friend, and what came out of it the next day, somebody that he officiated their wedding literally gave him a free ticket to Amsterdam this next summer. they're going to review their vows in Amsterdam. And another one was just my girlfriend who, um, the listing was that she wanted to just stay alive. She's got stage 4 cancer, and she's in hospice and heavily medicated. And it turned out it's like, oh, I need to be making the calls to her, and even calling her half an hour beforehand. And this woman's just like, she has people coming in and setting her up so she can be on Zoom calls, and she's writing her granddaughter wants, they're in the actions of writing a book of, my grandma has cancer, and this is what we do so she can be happy. It's like literally like putting all of that together. Those are all unexpected, I would say, not just results, but miracles. Out of me just saying, I'm going to have 90, committed listening and speaking conversations. So.
Wow. That's awesome. That's very, very, it's great for your friend, but also for just you doing that, putting it out to people. That's amazing. I'm so sorry.
Oh, and then also I've got one person that we're back in communication, and she's going to be setting up my website. And she said, okay, I've already bought okay, what are the domain names? She's like, it's like, this is my gift to you. It's like, I'll just set up your website. And I'm like, okay. Like, okay.
Wow.
Or a friend saying, yeah, I want to buy your Christmas present. I want to pay for your Zoom bill for next year. What is it? Oh, we better add another $15 so that, because it'll probably go up.
Wow, look at all of those things that are manifesting for you.
Yep,
That's
manifesting.
amazing.
Exactly. I'm just saying, I'm going to be listening committedly to them. What are they up to? What are they committed to?
Wow, I'm speechless. Like, that is huge, huge for you. Like, just to be bringing this type of abundance around you with people just reaching out to you. And I think that also has to do with you reaching out to them, right? Like, by you putting that out there, you're now receiving, which is,
Yeah. Instead of like, like what's in it for me? It's like, really, what's in their world? What are they dealing with? What are they committed to? What are they actually saying? I'm promising this, and it's not going on. It's just not like hitting the wall, so to speak. It's like literally, oh, what are they committed to?
exactly. And it speaks to the work that you're doing as well, and what you're putting out to the world and how that comes back to you. It's, to me, it's amazing. Which actually leads right into the exercise that we're going to do today. So I have a few questions that, well, actually, before I get into it, Kat, do you have anything you want to say? Okay, Kat's just going to listen today. Awesome. So one of the things that I feel like is really important when we're moving into the new year is, like we started this call with, is releasing what's no longer serving you, but then also aligning with what is going to bring forward what you want to receive in the new year. So a lot of the times when we're doing New Year planning, we're thinking about New Year's resolutions. And New Year's resolutions tend not to stick. Usually it's like the 1st of January and you're like, okay, what's my New Year's resolution? What am I going to kick to the curb this year? Or what habit am I going to bring in that I'm going to focus on for this year? But then by like the 3rd week of January, when, we get back to reality, it's like that fizzles out. And a few years ago, I had a friend who opened my eyes to a new way of transforming our New Year's and aligning with the person we want to become every year. Because there's a new version of us that continues to manifest as we move forward. But she called it New Year's evolution. And it just blew my mind. I was like, yes. Because an evolution doesn't have to happen in the moment. A resolution is like, okay, this is done, I'm making it happen. But an evolution is something that can evolve over time. Like that's what evolution is, right? So I encourage you, sorry, there's someone trying to log in, hang on. I encourage you this year to reposition your thought process away from New Year's resolutions into evolutions. So what we're going to do today is I have a few questions that I had Sophie help me come up with, because of course that's something that's a big part of our business moving forward, the partnership that I'm building with Simon, who I've been working with for the last 7 months. And sorry, really loud truck. And I love working with her because Sophie is, we call her conscious AI. So one of the things is that rather than ChatGPT, where you have to, tell ChatGPT what to do, Sophie actually listens. Like she does. She listens. She knows how to say things. She takes what you say and she provides her own value back as well. So I asked her to help me come up with the questions that we're going to go through today to put us through essentially a process of assessing what went well in 2024, the areas of evolution we'd like to have moving into 2025, what we'd like to release and let go, which when I started the session, that was what essentially Kat and I were doing, but we're going to come back to those questions. And then I'm going to talk about some ways that you can solidify this. And then we're going to go through the evolutionary goals framework. So how you move through these evolutions that you want to create and how you can bring yourself back to it on an ongoing basis with some just some guidance as these things come up throughout 2025, and different rituals or practices that you can use to help maintain those going into 2025. So I will share my screen so you guys can see the question. And this is going to be a working session. So we're going to go through the questions together one by one. And you can take out a piece of paper if you want to write it on a piece of paper. You can write it on your computer, like whatever works for you. I am going to use my journal, my handy dandy bullet journal that I use for everything, because it's one centralized place where I keep track of all my notes. So I love the bullet journaling process. You guys can see my screen? Is it big enough? I can actually hear it.
Can you make it bigger?
I can make it a little bit bigger, yeah. Is that better? Yeah?
Can't see all of it though.
That's okay. I'm going to scroll down. We're going to go through it section by section.
No, I can't. You can't see like half of the left side. I can't.
Oh, you can't see half of the left side? Shoot.
Let me see if I just close this. Okay. Help Cindy. There, I got it. Never mind. Mm.
I love when you have like a bunch of pens and you can never find the one that you want. Like I've got all of these writing utensils, but where's the one I want? Okay, clearly I'm just meant to use this one. So we're gonna go with it. Okay, so when I do any planning with any client or anyone that I'm working with, it's best to reflect on what went well. What did work out for us this year? What did we enjoy about the year that has taken place? So the questions here are, what moments made your soul light up in 2024? Which achievements actually felt aligned with your deeper purpose? What did you experience the most natural flow? Where did you experience the most natural flow and ease? What relationships or connections deepened meaningfully? Which habits and practices truly served your growth? We'll take a few minutes to answer the questions. If right now is not enough time for you to get the questions done, I am going to be putting a document with these questions into the recording so you can access that. Or actually, last week I had an issue with that. So if you would like these questions, just send me a message on WhatsApp and I'd be happy to send you the document. Eventually, these will all be on my website, but I'm honestly very busy right now. So I'm a little bit behind with getting those things set up. So that's why last week, if you went looking for the documents that I created, I said reach out to me because I have them made. I just couldn't put them on the website. So that will come. And I just want to honor myself that we're going into Christmas. I'm taking a couple of days off next week. So they may or may not be on the website at that point. But if you'd like them, just send me a WhatsApp message. Okay. We'll do about 2 more minutes and then we'll move on to the next section just to be cognizant of time. Okay, we'll move on to the next questions. If you need more time, you can always come back to it. So moving on to areas for evolution. So areas for evolution. Where do you feel resistance that's signaling need for change? What patterns keep repeating that need transformation? Which aspects of your work and life felt draining rather than energizing? Where did you sense untapped potential? What wisdom did your challenges reveal? So we'll do about 1 more minute for these questions, and then we'll move on to release and let go. Yes, Ian, you have a question?
No, I was just passing my greetings.
Oh, okay. Great. Thank you. Hello. We're just working through these questions. So if you have a piece of paper, you want to
Yes,
answer the questions that are on the screen, feel
yes.
free. We are about to move on to the next section, but you can always listen back to the recording if you'd like to go through the entire exercise. Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, does anyone need any more time? Are we okay to move on? Okay. Screen just went black. Give me a second. Okay. Release and let go. What beliefs or stories are you ready to release? Which activities drain more than they serve? What relationships, commitment need conscious completion? What are you forcing rather than flowing? What old patterns no longer align with your evolution? Another thing that I just noticed that I'm doing as you're answering these questions, if there are things that you just need to delete, you write it down and you're like, I'm deleting that in this moment. Feel free to put a line through it. Once, like, for example, if there's a belief or a story you need to release, an exercise to help you release it in the moment so you don't hold any energy is to cross it out. Because remember, everything that we do in the moment, when we write something down or create a thought, it is our right to delete it and release it in that moment. We'll spend about 1 more minute. And once you finish these questions, I'd like you to write an I choose statement or 2. You can write something like, I choose to be happy, healthy, and successful. I choose to bring wealth and abundance into my life. I choose to release what no longer serves me, or anything that comes to mind, starting with I choose. In this moment, we are choosing, we're making the choice to move into this new evolution within ourselves. Okay. And as we move into the last 5 minutes of the call and we talk about the evolutionary goals framework, I want to just highlight why I find the timing of everything so interesting. This goes back to what Patty was saying at the beginning of the call too, about the things that are coming up for her and what you're working through. I just got off a call with one of my mentors whose program is called Now is Non-Negotiable. Her name's Katie Mares. She's awesome. If you have never heard of her, I recommend following her. And one of the things that she and I talked about today was choice in the moment. We're always being told to release and let go. And I was saying, like, I feel like I've released these things. I feel like I've been working through them for so long. And within the last 2 days, I've had 2 independent experiences where I have been told that I am still holding on to the past. And I was like, how? Like, I'm constantly focusing on this stuff. But what had happened was I wasn't forgiving myself. I wasn't choosing in this moment or in any moment before to truly step into who I want to be and how I want to show up. And I thought I do these things constantly, but I was still not forgiving myself. So that's why when we first started the call, I was doing that burning ceremony. Burning is a really effective way of releasing what no longer serves you. You could even take the half a page or whatever you wrote down of what's no longer in alignment with, or sorry, what old patterns are not in alignment with your evolution, and burn those things, because by burning them, well, you know what happens when you burn something, it turns into ashes. And those ashes, it's like, it turns into dust. Like, what is the saying? Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, or whatever that is. It's a real thing. And these sort of rituals, as we're working through this aspect of human development, our personal development, our professional development, it makes it finite by creating some sort of exit ceremony or burning ceremony, or even just ripping the paper up into a whole bunch of pieces and throwing it in the garbage, or taking the piece of paper that you write down all of the things you forgive yourself for and throwing that in the garbage. Those are really effective ways of ending a cycle. Because at the end of this year, at the end of any year, it's important that we leave the past in the past, which has become a very clear message to me over the last few days. So I'll share that with you because I do feel like any lesson that I am receiving, I want to share and pass on. But I also recognize that I am sharing is also important for me to listen to myself. So a shift that I noticed within the last 2 days is usually I do a session and then the following week, I see things that come up in my own personal life based off of the coaching and advice that I've given in a call. This week, it was the opposite. It was like, I have been lined up perfectly to do this call. And I feel like that's because I've already started to make the shifts and changes that I want to see in this next year for myself. And I encourage you to start to pay attention to what happens week over week. And with this process of the ideal planning method, these things will continue to happen. You'll continue to see how by living in the present, creating and co-creating your own reality, that you start to recognize these patterns more and more by being conscious and not living in autopilot, which was also a message that I got this week because I'm still living in autopilot. By following the ideal planning method, planning your week ahead, planning your month ahead, your quarter ahead, your year ahead, and being prepared for what's coming allows you to react more effectively, because we're not being reactive anymore. We're being proactive in manifesting our future. So to just go over a few points, the evolutionary goals framework is important because you want to root your evolutionary goals for 2025 in purpose, not just achievement. So how are you going to evolve over the next year? How are you going to become the person you want to be by working towards these things on a daily, weekly, monthly basis versus just making a resolution and deciding that that's what you want to have done? Because when you make a resolution and you say, okay, I want to lose 50 pounds this year, but then you go to the gym a couple of times and you lose momentum, you feel like you failed in that resolution because you're not maintaining going to the gym every single week. But we're human. When you set an evolution of I want to lose 50 pounds this year, it's actually achievable because there's 52 weeks in a year, which means if you're actively working towards that goal, you should be losing around a pound a month or a week. And by the end of the year, you should have lost 52 pounds instead of 50. You want to connect with the larger vision versus the isolated target, because it's not about the target. It's about the small steps that you're taking every day to get there. Like, for example, if you want to learn to play the guitar, you're not going to be good at playing the guitar the first time you pick it up. But every day, if you spend a little bit of time playing with the strings, learning a song, even 5 minutes over a month, as I said in I think last week's session, 1 minute or 5 minutes of active work towards your goal will get you there rather than trying to force everything to happen at once. Build in progressive growth stages. So say, for example, in your evolution goal is, I don't know, I want to save $10,000. Set milestones for that. Month 1 to 3, I'm going to get my finances in order. Month 3 to 6, I'm going to save I'm going to save $5 on every bill that I make. Then month 6 to 9, I'm going to have saved, I don't know, let's say half. I'm going to have at least 5,000 saved. And then month 9 to 12 is I'm going to save the other 5,000. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be saving all the time. Like, one of the other things my mentor said to me today was she gave me a goal. Well, not even a goal. She said, do it today. Write on a piece of paper how much money I want to manifest. But she said it in a really interesting way. She said, write that you want to have an extra lump sum of X number of dollars. Right? Because when the universe hears you say, I want to save $10,000 this year, you could save $10,000 by just not eating out. It doesn't mean that that money actually exists in your bank account. So by reframing it and putting that emphasis on what you're trying to manifest, or what you're trying to achieve, because it doesn't have to be about manifestation. Everybody uses this word manifestation all the time, but it's about the progress. It's about the purpose of what you're saving for, the reason why you're saving for it, the reason why you want to lose the weight, the reason why you want to learn something new, whatever your goal is, because your goal is your goal. It can be a business goal, it can be a personal goal, but everything moves towards the evolution of who you are. Include both tangible and energetic markers. Not everything just has to be about the material. One of your goals, let's stick with this money goal because we're talking about money. You want to save $10,000. An energetic marker could be, I want to feel happy every time I save this money. Because that's also something that can happen, is if you're coming from a position of lack, or you're coming from a position of scarcity, then you're struggling to save that money. You're feeling like it's a burden to put aside that $500 or $1,000 or $1,500 into your savings account, because you could be spending it on something, right? There's always something we want to spend money on. Always. But if we're happy to save that money, if it comes from an accomplishment, then there is an energetic marker underneath it. And then create space for organic unfolding. Let it be. Make the goal and set it aside. Not all of these things have to have our focus on a daily basis. And that's something else that I got a reminder of today as well, is if you truly believe you're going to accomplish it, it's going to happen. If you doubt it and worry about it or stress about it, then you're actually putting out the opposite vibration of what you want to attract with it. If you just know it's going to happen, like my mentor's example, she said she wanted to have an extra lump sum of $50,000 in her bank. And she just left it. She knew it was going to happen. And she told me, like literally, that a few days ago, she woke up and in her bank account, there was $38,000. She didn't plan for it, but the government had owed her some money and she gifted that money. They gifted that money to her. And she had put that goal just on a piece of paper that she had put at the beginning of the year and just left it there. And her statement to me was, Megan, you and I had this conversation last year. And the difference is that I put it there and I didn't stress about it. You've been stressing about it because it's in your mind on a daily basis. I was like, oh my God, you're right. You're absolutely right. I've been stressing to hit this goal and I didn't hit it. Versus she put it out there and she was like, the universe has my back. God has my back. My higher power has my back. And the universe delivered. So she challenged me to do that this year. So I am now going to challenge you. So we've gone over a few minutes. I apologize if you needed to go and you had to step off. Patty, you have
Since
something?
next week is Christmas Eve and the following week is New Year's Eve, are you going to be meeting here or are we going to wait till after the first of the year?
Oh, that's a great question. Definitely. I actually didn't know. I didn't realize that the following week was also New Year's Eve. So yes, we're going to take a break for the next 2 weeks because I think that everyone deserves that. I am definitely off next Wednesday. And then, yeah, the following Wednesday, if that's New Year's, then let's respect that as well. So the next session will be on January 8th. That's funny. That's my sister's birthday. I love that. So thank you, Patty, for asking that question. Yeah, I hope you guys have a fantastic holiday over the next 2 weeks. And I look forward to connecting with all of you in the new year.
Thank you.
Have a good day, guys.
Yeah.